Accept. Okay. Yes. Invite. Nope. Stop that. Invite. Wait, nope. Saw your face. Saw your face. I saw your face. Dakota. Send. Share. A bit of fucking everybody. Hello. Huzzah. Okay. And then am live, and yes, excellent. It did send. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Suddenly realizing I need a more like official graphic to be like just posting everywhere, like I'm live.
I'm live, and use the monster voice.
Right. I need it to like have the sound effect like when they open it, it's just a goblin noise. It's like I'm live, and then like it just
On
closes.
brand. On brand.
Absolutely, especially so. My first like viral video was a joke about being a manager at the Mart of Walls, and I was a front end manager, and they called over the walkie. They're like, "Hey, Lizzie, there's a customer up here. Can you come deal with her?" And all I hear over the walkie is her going, like going full goblin mode. And they're like, "Did you catch any of that?" I was like, "I know what that means."
We have that in common. We have that in common. I was a CSM at the.
Really?
I was.
I was
I.
uh,
Hi, Brooke.
I was a CSM, and then I made it to being on front end team lead, and then I decided to go to the back end. Ended up being hardware and paint, and then I went to the academy to train people, and I regretted that decision immediately.
Yeah. I got thrown into customer service, and it was beautiful. It was great. I had foot shavings thrown at me.
Oh,
It's just the worst.
I definitely had one guy who came up to the front end and he was like, I want to return this box. It's a fireproof safe. I was like, okay, cool, yeah. I opened the box. He was like, oh, you don't need to, and it's just full of rocks,
Rocks.
just full of rocks. And he was like,
Nice.
oh no, someone filled
Switched it.
this box full of rocks. I was like, yeah, sure.
Nicole, I love seeing all of my favorites in the comments.
I did post to Bookstation, which is the new like book talk Discord. Did I invite you to it?
I don't even know what it is.
I'm gonna get better at this. I promise. We created it and we invited a bunch of people, and I was like, okay, I think I went through all of my contacts, but then like my best friend was like, I didn't get invited. I was like, shit, I missed people. Damn it. So I'll send you an invite. For anyone in the comments, Bookstation is also in my link tree. I officially put it up 10 minutes ago. So it's in the link tree if you want to join. It's for like PAs, readers, bookstagrammers, authors. It's a resource Discord and like a place where people can post like when things are open, when they want ARC readers, when they're doing sales, stuff like that. So that there's a all-in-one kind of Discord for everyone to kind of post promos and recs and other stuff, and not just for authors to. Yes, I know. Jay did yell at me because on my personal Discord, I was like, no one's gonna want to see this, and so I did post it. And she was like, why didn't you post it here?
I forgot, and then I posted it on my Discord as well. And I was like, oh, right, I'm going live tonight.
And like, so
Squirrel
I
brain.
made a really funny TikTok using a not so safe sound, but I was like, it's fine. A lot of people have used it. And I realized 2 hours later, TikTok was like, this did not post. This is not an okay post. I was
Not
like,
for you.
I thought it was funny.
It was for me.
It was for me and Dakota, and I thought you would have giggled at it, but apparently
Always.
it was that the snarling sound, and then it was like, oh glory, what a glorious way to die. And then I like put up your book. It didn't post, so I was like,
it's okay.
a little too spicy with it.
We
Uh,
live, we learn.
Unfortunately, with TikTok, I feel like I'm learning and unlearning every 5 seconds.
Everything. They change it all the time.
We're like, oh yeah, this works every single time. And then the next second, it's like, oh no, if you use this tag, none of your videos are going out.
Oh, for sure. Jay, don't get me started on the
Sorry,
book.
which is something we're actually going to touch on quite a lot. And is the sequel out yet, or is it still?
No, it comes out in February, but you have a book release next week, right?
I do on Tuesday, and I was going to announce it. I have only the proof copy because Amazon is like, oh yes, we'll send you an author copy eventually. It'll get there
At some point.
at some point.
I am
um,
tormenting Jay. She's seeing it chapter by chapter, all unedited.
oh no, that's worse.
And I
That's
leave her
better.
hanging, and she's just like, what?
Where is the rest of it? You'll get it Tuesday.
It's coming.
Tuesday. Um, but we'll go ahead and start since we've kind of got people filing in. I would like to welcome everybody. Hi, my name is Lizzie Strong. I'm a monster romance author where the monsters are spooky scary, but the romance is cute and cuddly. If you have no idea, I specialize in like monster romances that are queer with a huge splash of chaos, emphasis on the chaos. And I have a new release, Nymph on the Rocks. It comes out on the 13th. Yes, I did the mad thing where I was like, I'm going to release a non-Christmas book in December. It'll be fine. It is a monster romance for anyone who loves Eddie Munson, who has had very toxic friends. Oh yeah, he's based off of Eddie Munson, and
Yes.
there is a Chrissy wake up moment in this book, and I'm so excited for it.
I'm sold.
It's absolutely sold. He has horns and a tail and wings, so
That's all you got me at Eddie.
and he's a rock
All the
star.
and then you're just like checking all the boxes. It's
Getting
great.
all those boxes. But I also would like to introduce the fantastic guest. Go ahead, introduce yourself. What book you have out, what books are coming out, and where people can find your stuff.
So my name is Dakota Wilde, and my books are Hell House, and I also have another book called My Teacher's Dirty Secret. It's taboo, and they are available on Amazon. I also have a novella that goes with Hell House. It's called Hell House Halloween, and the sequel is coming out in February. So stay tuned. It's about the seven
Um,
deadly sins, so if that is not your jam.
and be warned, I did see it all over your Goodreads where people said, please be aware, the trigger warnings are there for a reason. Please
Yeah,
read them.
please read them. Yeah, exactly.
If, if only I could get them to read the content
Just
warnings. Just once. Just it's on the page. Just look at it once.
just
Uh,
just a bit.
especially when the words dark romance are in there, it's like
Right?
should peruse these just a little bit.
I know. The last thing I want to do is trigger somebody or hurt somebody with my work. So there's a reason that I make sure to like put all the things, which I'm sure you do as well. Like I do need to girl listen, same, same. There's a reason.
Absolutely. Um, so with that, did you want to kind of explain what Hell House is and what it's about? Because we've got Seven Deadly Sins, but it's a lot more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have seven guys who are being pledged to a fraternity, and they end up becoming possessed by the seven deadly sins. And then 2 years later, there are these roommates, two girls, that are living together, but their dorm room burns down, and they don't have anywhere else to stay. So they end up having to stay in this fraternity with all these guys, unbeknownst to them, who are possessed by the seven deadly sins. So it's a lot of chaos. It's a lot of like edging. Like there's spice. It's dark romance, demons. So definitely check your triggers.
I love that. So what inspired you to use Seven Deadly Sins slash like this college atmosphere?
So I was actually eating and I
Oh
was talking
no.
to, yeah, I was talking to my husband and it was pasta and it was amazing. It was so good. And I like brought up the thing of gluttony because I was just like eating this pasta. And I had this flash of a character who embodied gluttony and was
Mhm.
like in the kitchen with a spatula and he was like super sassy and like really hi he was like really angry about people like not eating his food. And I just had this like brainchild where I could see all of the seven deadly sins. I'm like, well, where would they be all
Mhm.
together? Like the only other place I could think of was like a firehouse. So where do you have them all together? So
Mhm.
academy, college kind of just fits with having them all live together in one space. And everything just kind of just it just came out. Hi.
So, I love that, especially the where else would they all be together? Because like a lot of people don't think about, well, why did you choose college? Because they literally couldn't cram them in any other place.
Like
Um,
where else are they gonna be?
oh,
Thank you,
the meme of
cats.
the seven deadly sins taking care of the dude and making him feel better about himself. It's a Tumblr meme.
That's
Uh,
funny. I haven't seen that.
so what kind of inspired Salem and Sky? Because I don't see a lot of books that focus around two FMCs,
Yeah.
and yours is a why
Why
choose
choose?
with two FMCs.
Yes. So there are seven people to take care of, and I just felt overwhelmed with the one. And I had Sky keep like knocking at the door to be let in to the chaos. And it just kind of fit because she is the roommate and she does have like a
Mhm.
bigger role to play. But they're basically me, like split down the middle and like put out into the world. Salem is very much my sassy, angsty, like emo phase of just like
Uh,
witchy girl. And then Sky is basically the one where she's very she has the weight of the world on her shoulders that she puts there herself because she's so aware of other people's expectations and she
mhm.
wants to be what others want her to be, but you get to like kind of watch her break out of that box that she made for herself. Thank you,
Yeah.
cats.
So kind of getting more behind the book because we'll spend the second half of this solely studying your book. But I would love to know, how did you start writing?
Oh God. um So,
Oh no.
hey, Marcus. um, well, I've always been a writer. I was writing stories when I was like in kindergarten, first grade. I had stories like the cavity who attacked teeth, and I had like all these little drawings and things. Like, the fairy who forgot how to fly. Very dramatic. Like,
Right.
she went through a time. Like, it was a lot of fun to always put those together, like, stapled them. So it's always been a part of like who I am, but I always got in my own way. And I let other people's voices kind of like dictate whether or not I was going to actually do this. And then the beginning of this year, I was like, forget it. I have the time, I have ideas, I want to do this. So I set a date for myself on Kindle Unlimited. And I'm like, this is happening, it's official. Like, we're just going to get a whole book out there.
So what came first, Hell House or the other title is blanking.
Yeah, the teacher book definitely came first. It
Yes.
was just to see if I could make a whole book,
Fair.
and they were very spicy. They wanted to do things like all the time, like all the time. They were
Right.
just very into each other. But while I was writing that is when I had the idea for Hell House. I think I was just in a creative space to like be be thinking of like characters and stuff. So I'm grateful for that first book. It's a lot of spice. It's a lot of spice. It's a lot of spice.
Sometimes you just gotta push it all out before your brain is like, okay, now we can think of plot with
We can
the
plot.
smut.
Exactly. Exactly. There's like 2%, plot in that one.
That's never a bad thing.
But yeah, because of that book, I think that I gave myself enough confidence. Plus, I had people on Instagram who were super supportive and they were sharing what I was working on. And I found this amazing community who they wanted to know about what I was working on, and they just embraced like, oh my gosh, you're working on something. I want to read it. And I think that that gave me enough confidence to like be like, okay, I can put out Hell House.
I love that. As someone who has also been writing since I was little, and unfortunately with as many crayons on any surface that my
Oh no.
mother was very unfortunate to find, what would you say is something that kind of inspired you writing darker romance? Because there's a little bit of a jump from the fairy who didn't have
Yeah.
wings to Hell House. So,
Right?
uh, how was that transition into dark romance?
Well, I knew that working with demons, I would be like embracing the darker side of things. I have a lot of religious trauma. Whoever else was in the, the comments.
Fair.
One of the things I remember reading as a child, like a kid. I don't know if anybody else's family made them read like Frank Peretti. It's called
Yes.
This Present Darkness, and there were demons, and they were demons that you could see. Um, so I felt like I had a lot to say about things that I had experienced. My family also put me through like an exorcism. So like
Oh,
there's a
yikes.
lot that I was like working through
Right.
going into the book. Yeah, it was a scary
Okay.
book for a kid.
Oh, a big ouch. Um, so would you say that kind of your fascination with demons, and then of course religious drama, because you
Religious
know,
trauma,
as you do,
as you
it,
do.
would you think that that kind of also plays into your personal beliefs? Because you also say you work with demons, right?
No.
Oh, I mixed
Just
that up.
writing
Okay.
them.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
writing
So
them
then, with you're working with demons on paper,
on paper.
do you think most of your books will relate somehow to like a demonology? Or are you kind of getting out all of your demons, quote unquote, now and then working on something different theme wise?
Oh, I have lots and lots of ideas to be. I'm not like in a one area kind of thing.
Mm,
This brain has a lot going on all the time. So I don't see myself staying in like one area. I think darker, like schminky, maybe. Like I'm trying to
yeah,
save
no,
on here.
don't get yourself banana.
Exactly. So I think that like romance will always be a part of it. Like I think that that whole genre will be like in there, but in terms of like where at in the genre, I think I'm
Mhm.
jumping around a lot. Hey Cassie.
um, so do you always want to write romance, or do you want to possibly branch out into uh, other genres with like a subplot of romance, or are you ever going to face a I'm not going to have any romance in this book?
I think romance will always be a part of it. The only time I think I could ever branch outside of that is if I were to tell like my own story. Um,
Mhm.
that's probably the only time that I think I will deviate. I'm not at that point.
Fair,
I'm not at that
fair.
point. There's a lot that's we're not touching that yet.
Yeah, that's a spooky story for much later. Uh,
Right?
there's always that worm in the back of your brain that like my autobiography would be fun, and then there are those moments where you're like, oh yeah, I've got to write that. No, thank you. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Like,
Um,
mm,
so, what would be like your author goals? Because you've done pretty well. Like, I didn't even get past writing HO in house, and your name immediately came up. You've got quite a huge amount of ratings, and when I even slightly mentioned your name, people like knew who I was talking about. So I would say you're a pretty well established author. So what are your goals?
um that was me.
It's okay.
Sorry. It was like let me chime in.
It was like, I've got some things to
I'll
tell
tell you.
you.
I mean, I'd love to hit like the USA Today bestseller list or the New York Times bestseller list. I think that that would be just something to take. Yes,
Take over
exactly,
the world.
Pinky. Exactly. And what are we doing tonight?
What we do every
um,
night, Pinky.
do every night. I think that like just creating more stories, hopefully people continue to love my work, and I'd love to do a collaboration with other authors once in once in at a time. Yeah, making the brain.
which
I would
is
love to
kind of
just
iconic because I am literally head to toe in pink right now. Uh,
you really are.
it's just how this happened. Need Pierce merch, Dakota. Do you have
Okay,
a character named Pierce or piercings?
I do.
Oh, gotcha.
Both actually.
Excellent.
Both.
We love that. We love a decorated queen. Moving right along, whatever the fuck that was. Um, what would be kind of like your more under the radar goals? Like, for example, my little like selfish, I really want to see this happen one day is I want to come across a cosplayer in like one of my characters' garb. I want to see
Yeah.
someone cosplaying one of my characters. That's where I'll actually say that I've made it as a like an author. So what are kind of some of your I've made it moments or goals that aren't the normal?
Oh. um, that's a difficult question because like one of the first things that popped into my head, it was not little. It was not little. It was like
It
maybe
could
I'll
be
get a
big.
show on Netflix. It was like it was like
Or HBO, I'm telling you.
or HBO.
Right? Because they did Game of Thrones, so we're just saying the smut is on the table. So, oh, thank you. I'm so glad you got the book. Um, Absolutely. I would love to see some of my some of our colleagues on the screen. Uh, but for giggles, have you, if you've thought about it, because I know I have a little bit, so if you haven't, it's totally fine. Uh, do you have any like fan casts or like a director picked out or anything like that?
So we'll have thank you, Cass. I love you guys. All of my inspiration, everybody's like older, so they wouldn't fit like the age group that they're supposed
Yeah,
to
that's
be. So like in my head, like Ian Somerhalder and like what's his name from Bridgerton and like the Duke.
yes.
Like
Oh,
like they were in my head when I'm writing, but they're
yeah.
like but they're not
Yeah,
college.
by the time the TV show would come out, they're a little out of, so like I need this person, but can you de-age them?
De-age every like CGI.
Right. Just a little bit.
just
It'll be
just
fine.
a bit.
No one will notice. Can
Yeah.
I audition for an extra, please? I would love that. Um, so what
Right,
is
same.
right? What is something that you really want to tackle with your work, like with your soon to be work? So either a genre you haven't touched before or a trope you're really excited to experiment with. What are some of like the next steps for you?
So I definitely have a sapphic thing coming up. I am very excited about that. I
Yeah.
would love to finish because I started it. I would love to finish my Frankenstein retelling, other than wrecking people's, and
Other
a
than yes.
possible Christmas one for next year.
Eh, what kind of Christmas one? Are we talking like spooky ooky or are we talking like it's gonna be strange and fluffy for you?
More like dark rom-com, maybe.
Okay, I'm interested. I'm here for it. Just tag me when you announce it. I would love to know. Yes, Frankenstein, we're here for it. So that kind of brings up a question. If you're doing a retelling, why did you try to dabble with Frankenstein and why not do like a fairy tale or something more popular?
Um, it's my brain.
Fair,
Like
fair.
I I was going to take a bath. I sat down in the bath and I had like this like this happens to me a lot where it's upsetting, but like I'll get like a flash of the
Fair.
first line or like a full scene and I have to
Mhm.
like go and write it. just to like get it out of my brain. And Frankenstein actually, like Young Frankenstein, the movie, is one of my favorite movies. I watch it like all the time. Like can quote it, uh, you know, verbatim. But
It's
it just was this scene that hit me in the head and I had to get it out. So that one kind of comes out in like waves. It's on Kindle Vella, so it's not like a full flushed out story yet, but it's just kind of like chapter by chapter at this moment. So,
we like. Um, so you kind of talked about possibility of a sapphic romance that you want to work on.
yep.
So, uh, then the aspect of you saying MF or solely MF, why choose? Like, where would you place yourself on the genre of what you write?
I'm definitely like LGBTQ plus like friendly. We have bi characters, we have non-binary characters in Hell House. Um, I'm open to the possibility of like whoever is getting together, they're getting together because to me, love is love. So I don't really limit myself to it's basically wherever the characters want to go.
Okay. I like that. Have your characters ever driven you in a space where you were not fully expecting them to go?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. There's a pull stick scene that I wasn't anticipating, but it came out. And I surprised myself. They surprised me.
Love that. Currently, they probably are. So I guess
Yeah.
that begs the question: do you consider yourself like a pantser, a plantser, or a plotter?
Both, like the one that's like in the middle where I
Right.
know my story, I know these characters, and it's one of them. Thank you. um, but I also do give them like freedom to go where they're gonna go. I almost feel like I'm following them with a camera.
Yo,
Like I know the story, but also like I'm watching how they're reacting to the story as is. So the plastic scene.
yes. For for giggles, because pull stick. Is the pull stick used in orifices, or is it just used for whacking?
Yeah. No, no, it's used. Used.
Nice. Um, I'm excited to find out how and whomst the pull stick is for. It beckons for thee. So uh, with your kind of planting and getting like a general outline, what does the prep work for you and your novels look like, other than you get a mad idea and you just got to scramble for the document? What happens after that to get ready for the full thing?
Um, so I usually will like get the whole first bit done and then I write the end. Um,
Mhm.
so like I already know where it's ending and I can
Mhm.
always like tweak. I can always tweak based on like anything that's happened prior, but I do the beginning and I do the end. Oh, sorry. Notifications. Um, and then I do big scenes that like pop in every once in a while. I already know like what I want to write, but every once in a while I'll get like a moment where it wasn't originally in there and I have to go and write it. So
Fair.
like otherwise I lose it.
All right. I love that. So you don't write linearly. You write in scenes and then kind of just
I just
uh,
connect the dots.
okay. Um,
It's
do
chaotic.
you? I I'm imagining it, and my brain is like, that's not for us.
How would you do that?
As a pantser of the most gremlin-y chaos, I open a blank document and I YOLO the whole way from start to finish. So like my brain is like, we can plan ahead. What is this? Uh, I could already
I'm
know.
sorry. I'm sorry, Jay. Yeah, I already wrote like a lot.
Uh, so with your kind of general popping of scenes, do you find that makes your editing easier or harder?
Once I start doing edits, I go start to finish. Or yeah. It just goes start to finish. And then I rarely end up taking things out. I might like change a sentence or two, but I end up like adding. I end up like adding to the scenes when I'm doing edits. So I don't know, it's a chaotic mess in here.
I love that. So, what is your routine? Because a lot of authors tend to have like a ritual or a routine to get like ready in the headspace to write. So, what would you say is yours?
Definitely getting the kids out of the house.
Fair.
Usually that
Absolutely fair.
helps. That helps. I have coffee. I put on music from the playlist that I put together. And then sometimes if I am like struggling, I will go on Pinterest and just kind of peruse the general feelings. I put together boards ahead of time just for
Mhm.
like the general aesthetic, the feelings. Sometimes I find images that inspire the absolute crap out of me and I'm like, "Oh, got to use like that would be perfect." Thank you, Jay.
For giggles, what kind of genre of music do you usually put on your playlists, or is it kind of eclectic and all over the place?
It's all over the place. I definitely have a theme
Mm,
because it's Hell House, and there like the first playlist was a lot of like demons and witches and like on brand themes. The second one is very specific to like what's happening. I use certain songs in the first one where like if they were having a ball, like a masquerade ball,
mhm.
and I just listened to the song that I used like over and over again so much that it was my number one Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do. I've done that, and my husband and I share our Spotify, and he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"You ruined my rap because all of your music is on here." I was like, "I'm sorry
It's
that
a
I'm at home
process.
listening to more music." So,
It's a process. Listen, sometimes
and
it
I
sets
have to
the
listen to
scene.
it the whole time.
Yes. For Hell House Halloween, I was
Mhm.
not allowed, like, my brain wouldn't let me write to anything else but Drop Dead Gorgeous by Republica. Like, nothing else.
Right.
Like,
Your brain was like, "This is the theme song, and only this is the theme song.
only this.
Only this song." Uh, yeah, unfortunately, I have burned myself out of loving favorite songs because they were the
Yep.
theme for like 6 to 12 chapters.
Yep.
Fair. Oh, I felt that in my soul. Um, well, hello, welcome. Thank you for popping in. Um, so then, obviously, we have to have music,
Yeah.
coffee, no
Yeah.
interruptions.
Hopefully.
What? Hopefully, fingers crossed. Um, what is something that absolutely like has to happen in order for you to feel in the groove or to write, or else like no, it's no go.
Oh, well, it's definitely music. Like, I have to have music on.
Right.
That's like one of my only things because otherwise I distract myself.
Yeah, I will ADHD squirrel myself out of a writing. Abs 100%. And you are absolutely allowed to ask questions in the chat. I will throw them in as often as I can. Um, so with your having your like ritual and being kind of a plantser, um, what comes easier to you, the writing or kind of the revision part of the story?
I think revision because the big part's done. The big undertaking of like stringing words together to make an entire book is done. So like when I go to revise, I'm like, oh, okay, we did the hard parts. Like we can just tweak.
Right. This is the fun part. This is just the
Yeah,
relaxing part,
I can breathe.
right? And we do have a question. What advice would you give to new writers?
Oh man, I mean
Right.
just write, just do it.
Right. Make your dreams come true. Just do it.
Yeah, there's so many people I talk to that say, "Oh, I want to write. I have the story that I've been working on, and keep going back to it, but then they never do it," which was me. So I totally understand that kind of thinking. So
Mhm.
every time somebody's like, well, how do you do it? I'm like, just start writing. Just
Right.
continue. Like, don't give up on yourself. Like, just, whatever your story is, whatever your characters are, like, give that space to them a little bit at a time.
I love that. Do you feel a certain type of person is excluded in books? Uh, that is a perplexing. It really, it really depends on the type of book. But I'll ask you this: is there like a personality type or like a trope or a person that you usually avoid writing or don't like to write?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just kind of write whatever the characters are telling me to. However, I don't really want to do pregnancy, like
Fair.
personally.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. There there was one time where my brain was like, nope. The
No.
balloon lost the hot air and deflated and crashed. Um, so maybe I guess the person that gets excluded is almost always the pregnant person.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
I think
Sorry.
generally across the board, romance readers are like, no, we want all of the fun, none of the consequences. In this economy, no, thank you.
In this economy, listen, I already did it myself. I did it myself. I want to live in the fiction.
Right. I want to. It's the fantasy. I'm selling a fantasy, and the fantasy is no children.
Exactly. No,
Um,
no, no.
but because you are you married, dating, non-disclosed?
Yeah, I'm married. I've been married for 9 years this next Wednesday.
Come on, that's
I had to think about
cute.
what date it was.
That's fair. My husband and I are both the bad adult where we forget when the anniversary is, and then Facebook is like, "Hey, by the way, it's your anniversary." We're like, "Oh shit, it's our
Oh,
anniversary."
thank you, Facebook.
Thanks, Facebook. The one thing I really use Facebook for, other than Messenger, is to remind me when important events are.
Yep.
But how like involved would you say your family is with like your writing or your books?
I mean, my husband is very supportive. My stepdad and brothers are super supportive. However, I don't have a lot of support outside of that. Like my mom, just like
No,
absolutely not. My family's very religious, very conservative. So like I don't fit in that kind of
your sphere.
box that they want me to be in.
Mm,
So they're not very much a part of it or supportive of that. So that's I think that is probably what held me back for a long time, like knowing I would disappoint them if I wrote what I wanted to. So I think giving myself a pen name gave me the freedom to kind of just remove me and just like write what I wanted and let the
right, and just
characters
be
come through.
free.
Yeah.
Love that. Um,
They
so
are.
Dakota Wilde is a pen name then, right?
Yes.
So where'd it come from?
So I'm part native, and so that is the part that I come from. And
Mhm.
then I was just like spitballing like different names that went with Dakota, and I I'm wild.
Fair,
It's a circus up in here, and I'm like that
fair.
fits. That fits. It. I feel like it flowed. Thank
Well,
you.
knowing that this is your chosen pen name, it does flow right off the tongue. I was gonna say you were perfectly named, but I do love your pen name. Uh,
Thank you.
are you ever going to like write under a different pen name? Because we do have some authors who have like six of them, and I can't imagine
Ugh,
having that many personality like online. It's hard enough to uphold one TikTok account, let alone like different author accounts. So
no, no, I can't. Like this is it. This is what we're doing. Like that's too
this is
much.
fair.
I can't. I like when I had the seven different characters for the guys, I had to have a list. I had to know like who was who. I put a
Mhm.
list in the front of the book because I was like,
Fair.
I know me. And I am like, who?
Who is everyone in this book you need to know? Here's a thesaurus.
Yeah.
I love that. So because it's a Why Choose, and I love asking Why Choose authors this, how do you keep track of whose leg it is? How are you keeping track of those scenes?
Barbies.
Fair, absolutely fair.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Barbies in the house. Just kind of,
Just a lot of choreographing it.
yep. Just give me Walker.
That's fair. Um, with your multiple love interests, is it Salem and Sky are open to all seven, or is it kind of like split down the middle? Someone gets four, someone gets three. How's the dynamic?
So that one, I was talking to Kat. She wrote Ghost, and we were just talking about this earlier today because she asked the same question. She goes, "How did you like pick who
Split
was
it.
with who?" And I was like, I actually just followed them around to see who had chemistry, like who kept just like knocking into each other, who kept. I would love to see the behind the scenes. Ah,
I'm telling you,
it was
when
a
you're
good
getting
time.
ready to like write your next Why Choose, absolutely for giggles and for TikTok, you should just like record, being like, all right, so this is how they're set up. This is how we don't
I
lose
can
a
only
left toe.
imagine the comments or the banana hammer coming down for me.
Hey, it's Barbies, and technically it's not people, so
My Discord might be the place for that one.
fair. Fair. Then just dropping at 3 a.m. a random picture of like a bunch of Barbies all coupled together.
Barbie.
No context.
No, no.
No explanation. We love a good
Yay.
tutorial. Um, so I guess that kind of how did you keep everyone kind of because obviously you made a list of their names, but how did you kind of keep them separate as their own separate people in your brain, all the while kind of having them intermingle in the story?
See the memes. Okay, so it was very helpful to me knowing that their personality kind of followed their sin. So to know that like wrath would be more like angry or
Right,
pride would be more prideful. Like that really helped shape their personalities around that center part of them. Like having that specific characteristic or trait just kind of blossomed the individual characters. And I think it was imperative because there are a lot of times that like why choose guys start to blur and they get a little bit too similar. So contortionist, yeah. Lots of stretching. Um and then the girls, I had them very clear in my brain
right,
of like which parts they're not completely me, but like there's a heavy influence there
right.
from like
I love
me.
that. Um, so when you're writing Why Choose, is it different in your brain than when you were writing the teacher story because that one's just the one pairing?
Yeah. So I knew that they were going to be monogamous with the teacher and the student. And with the white shoes, it's college. And hi, Macy. And like, I just thought if you have that many hot people in one area,
Sure.
hormones are flying, emotions are flying, people
Right,
are going to be people. So, and
fair.
they're all under one roof. So, you know, play.
We love that. Um, with your next few projects, are you going to do more Why Choose? Do you feel like Why Choose is going to be more of your pairings going forward, or
I think it's going to be a mixed bag. I think it's going to be a mixed bag. Bed Bunnies is definitely like sapphic with like a little bit of like poly in there. And then going forward after that, the Frankenstein retelling is monogamous. That one does not end happy. Just to
oh no,
like it's a Frankenstein retelling, so
fair.
like it's
Right, you can
not
only
really
expect so much from that one.
right. So like do with that as you will. Jay dot dot dot.
You're gonna get so many angry messages in Discord, like, how dare?
Oh my gosh, listen, every day I get a message from somebody that's yelling at me about the ending of Hell House because it's a cliffhanger. And they're like,
Right.
when's the next book coming out? And I'm like, February.
It's
February.
soon, please. Don't take my
I
tone.
do. I do. Jay is keeping my mental health on track with her feedback.
We love that. With with all the cliffhangers, because I did see that a lot with your reviews, is a lot of, oh boy, that cliffhanger. What kind of went into the cliffhanger? And earlier, so you had said you wrote the beginning and the end, so was it
Yep.
planned from the beginning?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh
Yeah, I
no.
already knew exactly how it was going to end. I had the end written out after I did the whole beginning, and I already knew who was going to like be in peril. Um,
Right.
it was a surprise that there were multiple people in peril, though. That one I didn't see coming.
Okay.
I can't
I like
speak
it.
on that.
But with no flavor. Right. As long as you're a little going in there a little
Oh,
well aware. And speaking of being well aware of what you're getting into, um, something we talked about a little bit earlier, but I want to kind of touch on again. You put warnings in your book, and you also put them on like your Goodreads for the book as well. Um, what are some of the warnings, without like getting yourself bananas, that people should be aware of when they're getting into Hell House?
okay. I'm
Fair.
trying to like think of how to say that because there is a list on my website. There's the list in the beginning of the book. Um, the cliffhanger is definitely one. Oh gosh, I'm trying to like think of like an alternative word to explain what it is. It's not happening. My brain is not thesaurusing for me.
Okay, so just no problem. Of course, everyone can go to your website to see them. Um, why was it important to you to make sure that those were at the beginning of the book before you get to the
Yeah.
story?
Yeah, I never want somebody to like be harmed by what I wrote. I have been through immense traumas in my life, and there have been times where it's very rare that I will like come upon something that I am like, I can't read this. Um, but knowing ahead of time like where whoever is coming upon my book, like what they're going to be getting into, whether that is, oh, I can't say it, like a
Right.
or essay, maybe,
Mhm.
I don't want somebody to be harmed at all by what I wrote. So it was very important to me to take those steps. It was important to me to have a sensitivity reader because I don't ever want, the characters and the things that I write to cause that to somebody.
Right. With your having gotten a sensitivity reader, I love that you are really taking their reader into account with their consent to reading certain topics. For giggles, what would you tag, like if you were to put it on like Archive of Our Own or any fan fiction site, what are some tags you would also tag with along with your content warnings? Because that's always my favorite thing. All
Sorry,
good.
it cut you out because my phone decided to
Oh,
like.
so
I'm
what are
sorry.
some tags, if you had to like tag it fan fiction style, that you would put with your book, or just like some of the other like tropes or just fun things that people are going to find in this book?
I definitely would say like enemies to lovers is like kind of in there.
Hmm.
We have the white shoes. You have the it was basically a shopping list for you. Um, there's like the slow burn.
Hmm.
There's spice, like hashtag spice or whatever. That would be dark academia is definitely in there. Dark
Ooh,
romance. I'm just trying to like think of like all the hashtags I use like to try
fair.
and like get it out there. And then PNR because
Mhm.
there is like the demons and the witches and slower than a listen, the edging.
And just very prominent in this book. We
It
love
was
that.
so, I mean, to the point where I wanted people to be like rooting for these characters to like get together. I wanted them so invested in the characters and the characters' relationships that by the time it does happen, you're like, oh my gosh, finally. Because
Finally.
this is book one. We're book
Right.
one.
Uh,
So
how
like
many are you
we
planning
got places.
for the Hell House series?
Three.
Excellent, excellent. As you tagged it with paranormal, will you ever consider writing contemporary, or is magic like the way to go?
I do really like playing with the magic because there's so much possibility. But I definitely think I mean I did contemporary for my teachers, Dirty Secret. So like
Mhm.
sometimes I like to be grounded in reality. A smidge. A smidge. Um it's three.
It is
What's teasing
three.
you is like I like there's parts of me that are like four question mark.
Right. Don't tempt me. I'll drop a fourth one, and all of them will have cliffhangers. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I've got content.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. I can make the edging last so much longer. Uh,
Like all
with
it takes is one person to knock on the door.
and
Interrupted.
and who knows? This we might be getting more people just because you tempted me. This is your fault. You should know this is your fault. Um,
Charity, thank you.
so then you've done a little bit of paranormal, a little bit of contemporary. Would would you say there's like a genre you probably won't touch, or like your brain is like, nope, that's not for us?
Self help.
Fair. Fair. Yeah, yeah, no, I feel that.
I can't help
I
me. I can't help you.
fair. Okay. Uh, so then is possibly like a historical dark romance on the table for Dakota?
Oh, I could see Dakota, me, doing like historical PNR. I could see, well, yeah, because I mean, Frankenstein takes place like,
Ooh, so it
you
is
know,
in the past.
it's in the past. So I can definitely see, she said real quick answer. So it's a no on the self help.
Sometimes you just, and I honestly, I've asked 100 authors that question of like, which genre are you most likely not to touch? And about 75% have said either nonfiction or self-help. I think it's like just a universal answer for authors who are like, I
Not
can't.
for me.
The reason I write is because the monsters in my brain are gargling at me. So like, a short-haired, mid-sized FMC that dabbles in PNR. Okay,
All right,
I
I hear
love
you. I
that.
hear you.
Um, is there a genre you're really kind of excited that are you thinking of possibly doing like a Regency because that's really popular right now? Are you feeling Krampus at all? What are some things you would see yourself dabbling in later?
I mean, like, I would love to hit fantasy
Hmm.
in the future. I'd love to do a monster one.
Ah, I will
I
always hype up the monsters.
I mean, I feel like we're gonna get a little bit into it in this series with monster-ish adjacent, like PNR,
Right,
like
right.
a little
Paranormal and
bit. So
monsters
we'll see
almost
how that.
always tend to on that
Yeah,
line.
yeah. I feel like we're gonna toe the line ish there. Maybe we'll like go over it, but
Fair. They were possessed by the sins. So, you know, if they burst out with horns and leather skin and they've got tails, I'm not gonna be mad at it. Just saying. Uh, so, I'm good with horns. So what is, if you had to like build your perfect monster for giggles, because I like asking this question, build your perfect monster for you to use in your next romance, what would he, they, she, look like?
definitely the horns. Definitely some sort of apparatus, whether that's like a tail that you can use, right? Or like something additional. I do really like the ones that have like multiple hands so that like,
Ooh. There's
you know,
plenty of hands to grab, right?
and then like a forked
Fork
tongue.
tongue. Yes. Absolutely. It's guaranteed. Tails are a must. Yes. In this house, we love a good tail. We love a good forked tongue. Um, so, oh no. um, with your magic system in Hell House, what does the magic look like to you?
Oh, some of it is that you can actually see it,
Mhm.
like as in terms of like fog that can turn into like something physical. And then there's times where you can't see it, that it's just happening, kind of like Star Wars. Like,
The four.
use the Force, just a little like use the Force Luke
Yeah.
moment, which you could probably tell in Hell House. There's like a moment where you're just like, is she a Star Wars fan? Yes, yes. The answer to that question is yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm a little
We
bit
love
nerdy.
the
Marcus.
uh, with the fans, and yes, in this house we love a good knot. Not jokes are always really funny. Um, what are some of your best like recs, whether it be reading or movies or like
Oh.
podcasts? What are your favorites? And it doesn't have to be of all time. It can just be the most recent off the top of your head.
So Ghost by Blackthorn, amazing. Very similar if you're looking for like if you read Hell House and you're like, what do I read next? Go read Ghost if you haven't already. I know a lot of people already have. So like that one was amazing. I love Molly Doyle. Um I am a huge Lord of the Rings nerd. Like huge. I have my own little Hobbit door that I had made. I love Star Wars. I love comics. like,
Like it.
like I am a huge Marvel fan, but I like Edgar Allan Poe to get when like spooky season is going on. I also surprise people by like Jane Austen because I liked Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. I there's something about that particular classic and like Jane Eyre, Jane Austen, and uh, like though that era of women writing women
Yes.
always
Yeah.
always is.
I am reading right now Katie's book that just popped
Ooh.
in. It's called Because of Me. It's it's so good. It's so good. I am so like behind on the reading because I am writing. So I get to read
Right,
it a little bit at a time before I go to bed.
right. As a just a fun little treat. I've gotten through so much writing or editing. I get to read now. Invoking the blood. I think I've heard. Um, but Aw. Specifically onto Hell House. You said it kind of inspired you while you were thinking of Gluttony. So Gluttony came first. Who came
Yeah.
second?
His character came first, but
Mhm.
I wrote Lucas first. So Lust was
Ooh.
like he had a whole chapter of that surprised me. After him was Pierce, which was Pride, which was hilarious to me because he wakes up with like something on his face, which was like the second thing I wrote. And then I went back and rewrote the beginning on like how they become the seven deadly sins. So those were the ones that came first, and the ones that were the loudest and had like the most plot were the ones that I wrote more consistently throughout the first book because I did not want to overwhelm readers with like how many characters there are. So like you get more of everybody else, the more we go through. And then I
Mhm.
had Hell House Halloween where everybody had their own POV, just to see like what else was going on Halloween night. Um, but yeah, he Lucas came out first in my writing. Gluttony was just kind of like living in here though.
Right. Gluttony said, "No, I'm the inspiration. Everyone loves me. Lucas, you could be first on the page. It's fine. But everyone comes here for a good cook. We love that. He's my boy." So because Lucas's Lust, are all of the boys' names like interchangeable with the letter?
Yeah. So like the very first letter of their name is their sin. So Lucas, lust, gluttony, Graham. And there's a reason for it.
Ooh, love that.
Walker Walker was me questioning what would my husband say?
Mhm.
There was a lot of like that interaction between them was like me and my husband just like batting back and forth, but as those characters.
Like it. So, and you discussed that Salem and Sky are kind of two halves of your personality.
Yeah,
And you said Sky kind of came knocking later. So, was there a version of the story where it was just Salem?
yeah. Salem was going to be more so like the focus, and Sky was going to be more of a background character. And the more that I was writing, Sky just kept like coming
He was
up.
like, no,
Let me in.
I get my special.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that.
and it made sense. It made sense to include her after like I noticed that like some of the guys were gravitating towards her, and I'm like, all right, we'll let you in. She's got purpose. We've got things going on, so
I love
you can come
that.
along too.
Uh, with Salem and Sky, are either of them witches? I kind of got some murmurs of that in your reviews. So, how does that dynamic work between them?
Yeah, so Salem is a witch, but she does not know that she is a witch for the entire book
Oh
until you
no,
get to the end.
fair.
So
Okay, fair.
we know, we know that there's something special about her like that. And there's definitely like she gets called witch by one of the characters, but it
Hmm.
never like clicks with her that there's something additional because she's never experienced a moment where she would have that come out.
All right. And how is Salem and Sky's dynamic as like personalities? How do they work together?
So, even as like opposite as they are on page, they come together really well. They both have not had the best relationships, like friendships. So like they kind of find each other and have that history of like I want to be a good friend because I never had a good friend, and now we're sharing this space, we're sharing this
Mhm.
room together. Like I'm going to respect you and come at this with like a fresh start, and like off the bat they are very much like, do you want to come with me to the movies? Do you want to vent to me about like stuff that's
Fair.
going on? It's a very fast, easy friendship for them that they just kind of slide into. um and they're a lot of fun to write together as friends. And I feel like they're very good girlfriends to each other, like despite like everything that else that's going on. Like they're very
They're
like
very
ride or
strong
die.
friends together.
Yeah.
And what is kind of the dynamic between the seven Sin boys? Because I imagine it's probably a little chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're frat guys. They definitely give each other a lot of crap. Um I mean, we have ones that are twins, so like they have their own special relationship between each other, where they give each other crap. Like there's a lot of like partying or like, oh, I'm annoyed by the party. Like everybody has their own personality of how they approach everything. It is chaotic. It's funny. It's I really enjoyed writing the funny scenes with them because I knew we were going to a darker place later. So like off the bat, you kind of see like their interactions when the girls are in the house. They kind of eavesdrop to like see like who the heck am I living with? Who the heck am I living with now?
Fair.
And they overhear all these guys interacting with each other, and like one of them's putting together a charcuterie board, and the other guys are like calling it like a shark.
Gucci.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, it's charcuterie, and he's like getting so pressed that it's like you're not using the right name. And then they give
Right.
him crap like, well, what if they don't eat meat? And he's like, well, then they can have the cheese, the
Cheese.
grapes. And then they're like, well, what if they're vegan? And he's like, then they can have the grapes. Like he's getting like so flustered.
Ah,
And it was
I
like
love
one
this.
of my favorite scenes to write because it was just so like them and so funny, and like they're not having all of this other extra stuff going on. It makes you giggle.
Makes you giggle. Uh, so with the kind of like warm found family vibe that you kind of get from everyone all together, where does the dark part of the romance kind of set in? Where do the readers get to feel that hit?
Yeah, so off the bat, there's tension between the girls, well, one of the girls and the guy, one of the guys. So there's an enemy kind of set up there. There's a lot of underplot going on that the characters aren't, not all the characters are aware of. You get like snippets of this like dark entity, dark force that's like kind of causing things to happen, like maybe causing the fire, maybe, like pushing them into the
Right.
direction of like you've got like this, like I'm in college, I'm happy, I'm having a good time, but you also have like other things going on that like lead to this crescendo of things happening to Salem and Sky, like things putting people in danger, physical things happening. So there's
Mhm.
definitely like as fun and like lighthearted as it can be, we also have like this undercurrent where we come to that crescendo a little bit more towards the end, but it's definitely there and it builds the whole time.
I like that. And with them being in college and not a firehouse, it
Firehouse.
there are many points where I can imagine where the darkness kind of seeps in. For giggles, do they ever go to class?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that are in class together. It was I had to figure out like how because the guys are 2 years older than the
Mhm.
girls are. So I had to like find loopholes and ways that at least two of the guys could be in the same classes as the girls. And that's where we started to get that interaction and the chemistry and like the
Mhm.
pull, even though, yeah, our in class. Yep.
All right. Uh, what would you say is kind of like the overarching plot? So obviously, we start with two freshman roommates. Their dorm gets burned down. They're forced to kind of take refuge in Hell House. What would you say is like the overarching plot for the rest of the book?
So the entire time the headmaster is plotting, he really wants the veil to purgatory to be open.
Mhm.
So it's basically like them getting to that point of will the veil get open and unleash the rest of purgatory demons that like caused
Ooh.
havoc, and that's why they were closed off in the first place. And Salem being who she is the key to
Ah,
opening them.
all
So
right.
it's very much about like her finding that power. The guys grappling with morality on, and it's not everybody knows that the headmaster is doing this. There's
Mhm.
certain guys that are grappling with morality on like, well, how badly do I want this to happen? Do I want to keep helping? They're promised something
Mhm.
in return for their services for opening that. So there's a lot of that question that they play with.
All right. And where do we obviously we end on a cliffhanger because I was screamed at that it was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, same.
uh, it was very well prominent that everyone was like, "Don't be lied to." It ends in a cliffhanger. I
It's a
want the next
cliffhanger.
book. Uh, so where do we kind of end off in Hell House, and where do we pick up that people can be excited for the sequel?
In peril, we end in peril. We pick up in the peril.
Oh no! So like immediate second beat.
Yeah, so like we do have a scene where it explains a little bit further stuff that happened in the past,
Mm.
and then it's like immediately picked up where we left off. So
All right.
it'll be some
Uh,
answered questions on like, well, what happened and where did they go and like who's okay and who's not okay and is everybody okay? So you'll get
fair.
you'll get your answers. I'm not saying all the answers are right, but like
Right. But you'll get some. You'll
you'll
get some
see.
answers. I love that. Uh, and kind of by the end of book one, would you say that we've got like some established couples, or is everyone still kind of up in the air? Don't do this to me. Jay.
Well, I mean, you think that they're established?
Fair. Okay. Ow.
Yeah,
Love that. Um,
we're going on a
what are
ride.
like what are some of your favorite things that you're excited for readers to experience when they get to Hell House?
Uh, I love the characters. Just experiencing their everything. The characters are like my favorite part of it. Um, I think some of the humor is fun. Like there's a scene at a ball and one of the characters has no idea how to dance at the ball. And she's just like, why couldn't it have been the Cupid Shuffle or something? Like I would have
Fair.
slayed.
I love that. Uh,
No, she's not allowed. Sworn to secrecy.
Jay has to be very zipped lip.
Yeah, sworn to
Um,
secrecy.
what is something you really want to talk about with Hell House? Maybe you haven't been able to talk about before.
I mean, I've touched on it a little bit, but like one of the characters is inspired by one of my friends. It was very important to me that they have representation. We had a conversation about how there aren't that many non-binary characters and they don't really see themselves in books as much. So there's a character that I put in specifically for them.
Oh, we love that. What other kind of representation will people see either in Hell House or my teacher's dirty secret?
So it's important to me that like people of color are present in my work just because I have friends. I live in the world, and I want my worlds that I create to be like a representation of what my world looks like. So I
Mhm.
can't imagine having like to come to a whole book and create a whole series and not make space for all of my friends. I can't imagine doing that. So to me, like that's very important.
Um, did you want to dive into your teacher series, or did you want to keep on with Hell House and the sequel Queens of Hell House?
Whatever you want, girl. This is your
Uh,
your interview. Whatever you
well,
feel.
technically, it's your interview, so I mean, like, I'm just the wizard behind the curtain.
The
But I'm
wizard.
I'm really kind of wanting to dig a little bit into your contemporary because a lot of
Yeah.
authors who write paranormal almost exclusively do not write contemporary. Mostly because I cannot fathom how to make things work if there isn't some kind of magic fuckery. So,
Yeah.
uh, so how did that go, and like where did the little light bulb come out from your contemporary romance?
I was eating tacos. Basically, if you feed me or you put me in a bathtub,
Book
like I get
idea.
super creative.
We love that.
Yeah. So, at the time, I was starting to watch Vampire Diaries. Pays lots of attention. That's funny. I was watching
Ignore the
Vampire
person behind the curtain.
Diaries, and I just kept
Mhm.
thinking about Alaric and like how he didn't really get like a lot of action, like whatsoever. And
Fair.
I always liked the idea of like taboo, but I want it to be like legit taboo. So I just started playing around with that idea and saw what like came out and like how do you get that together when you have that like kind of off limits relationship. So that was a lot of fun to play with.
Mhm.
To try and figure out like what's a way that he and she could actually get together.
Mhm.
So
So, as it's taboo, what age slash like academia range are we talking? Like, uh, college, university, high school? What's the age range?
yeah, she's 18. She is at
Mhm.
the end of her senior year, and he
Mhm.
is very young. Like he was a young parent. Like he's in like his late 30s. So like there is the age gap that's happening, and I feel like because he this was very much like my experience with stuff. So it's not like I'm not speaking on everybody, but there have been lots of times where, because I was a young mom, there were lots of times where other friends of mine kind of got stuck at
Mhm.
that age when they had their kids. Not
Right.
saying like for me personally, but like they're like the maturity level, it ended up working out between the two of them because of like how he was like the younger cool parent or whatever, and she's
Mhm.
like a lot more mature because of situations that she's been put through. So like at least they're able to like kind of have that like communication and that kind
Mhm.
of dynamic where they at least get along, and it's not like, oh, this is something awful. This
Fair.
is mature.
How is he teaching in her school, or is she? Gotcha.
Yeah,
For giggles, what kind of teacher is he?
he's an English teacher.
I knew it. I knew he
Yeah,
was gonna be an English teacher.
he's an English teacher.
I've never met a non-hot male English teacher.
Yeah,
Like it comes with the degree.
yeah, yeah. And he reads to her, and like once they get established in the relationship, like he reads to her, and she just loves that about him. He likes to write, all the things. Book boyfriend.
We love it. So is he the primary caregiver for his child, or is he kind of estranged from his child?
Yeah, he has twins, and reads to her. Yeah, he has twins, and his wife left. Um, like completely did a peace out kind of
Right. I'm
situation.
out.
He he was like grappling with her loss. He wasn't really thinking I'm going to be with somebody. And they literally knock into each other and things happen. So, but she has like this kind of tiny crush on him, like where she like listens to him read in class, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, why am I finding him so attractive? Like I never
Right.
really did, before, but like there's something about like this, like having him as my teacher this year, and like it's the end of senior year, like to the point where it's like almost prom, spring break kind of like end of everything. She's
Right.
already been accepted to college. She's been 18 for a while, so um she has like that little crush on him, but they bump into each other. They're both a little bit intoxicated, so there is underage
Right. As you do.
things, as you do.
As you do. We love that. And
Yeah, so that worked why their inhibitions or that like judgment would be like a little skewed.
kiltered. We love that.
Yeah.
So does this end with happily ever after? Is it like a one-off? What's kind of
Yeah.
the end goal for this?
Yeah, it's one and done. There's a happily ever after epilogue of all the happiness, and it is like in my mind when I made it, I was planning on doing a taboo series. So like the next one was supposed to be like the boss and employee kind of situation where like you're towing the line there. But Hell House decided to like be really loud and come out first. so
Right. We love
so
that.
we just did whatever was yelling at me in my head first. Hey cat.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any plans for a mafia or of the criminal mindset books?
I mean, I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no. I wrote a character in Pretty Monster with the last name of Bates just because I thought, well, maybe one day I can do like a Norman Bates retelling. So like I'm laying the groundwork there. I'm not gonna say
Hmm.
no to Mafia. Like it's
Right.
maybe.
The classic. They're always delicious, like fine wine. And if you would, like, say, if you could drop something like right now that was off Mafia or MC, would it be wide shoes? Would it be monogamous? Would it be all over the place?
I'd read.
Ready to go to shopping list.
Thank you, Kat. Oh, I would love to do if it was like a Mafia, make it white shoes. Just adds to the chaos.
I love when we have like organized like work
Thank you.
and everyone's involved. Do very much favorite trope is everyone is involved. Um, but going to your sequel for Hell House, uh, we have Queens of Hell House. Is that what the official title is?
Yes. Yeah.
So what kind of inspired Queens of Hell House slash like what played into that?
The name or just like
Start with the
the
name and then like the actual like overarching plot for the story.
so in Hell House there's a moment where there's girls on campus that are like pretty nasty to Salem just because they are jealous that they get to live with all these really hot guys. Um, so like to me, it's what people are on campus are going to call them.
Mm, okay. And
So
what is kind of the plot that we're going to see? Obviously, we start directly into the peril. Um,
mhm.
are we going to see more of the relationship blossom? Or are we going to see like more conflict? What are some things we should expect from the sequel?
There's people are definitely dealing with PTSD.
Oh,
They might be dealing with grief. They might be dealing with inner demons.
mm,
Um,
yes.
it's a lot darker. It's a lot darker because I with Hell House, one of the things that I knew going and it wasn't going to be the darkest thing ever because it was the beginning.
Mm,
But I knew that if I didn't label it as dark romance, I would be remiss because I knew where the series was going and I knew that it was going to get darker. You'll find out in book two. You'll find out in book two. Be patient. But I already knew that this was going to go to a place where like if I didn't warn people in book one that this is dark romance, like I would be doing my readers a disservice. So it because Hell House is not the darkest ever.
mhm.
It is dark, but it's not the darkest ever. But I know where we're going. So
Gotcha. Um, that kind of begs the question, is the romance itself the dark part, or is it more the plot that's the dark part, or is it kind of a little bit of
both,
both? Both?
both,
All right.
both.
Where would you say is most of the darkness in the relationship kind of coming from? Is it one person, or is it kind of all of them?
Well, we are dealing with demons,
Right.
so they ah sorry.
That was so funny. It like made your whole screen like seize. It was hilarious.
Yeah, my group chats are going off.
It's
um,
fair. I do have a mute on my
so
Discord right now because if not, they would be like, "What are you doing?" It's fine.
yeah, no, this one I thought it was gonna be quiet. They haven't spoken like all day long.
They were waiting until you were busy.
They knew. It's like they know. Yeah, I don't remember what the original question was.
Oh,
Sorry.
so the darkness in the relationship, are we kind of attributing that to like one person, or is it kind of coming from everyone and like why?
Um, yeah. Mostly everyone with
Okay.
a lot of different moving pieces. Hmm.
Okay. Uh, and that kind of segues into a little bit of as we're kind of descending more into darkness with the rest of the series, and it is a trilogy. Uh, is there a plan for a happily ever after, or is it kind of going to be the pits of hell for the everyone involved?
Mm, everyone's going to have to read it.
Okay, we like that. Uh, absolutely keep your secrets. It's fine. Um,
Yeah, this one I have to like under wraps a bit.
uh, so then, with kind of the ominous cloud of it gets worse from here. Uh, what is something that you do to keep yourself like above the water when writing?
Oh man. So I have to take baths first of all just cuz it calms me. It
Okay.
calms me. Yoga, meditating, talking to people who are positive and like just like like my besties, people who keep me grounded or make me laugh.
Mhm.
Like laughter is a huge key to like me being able to be okay because I do have a lot of anxiety and I do have panic attacks. Not just not from my writing, just life,
Mhm.
and they like to hit me out of nowhere. And I actually
Yes.
think that writing helps me with all of that. So like even though like it might be a dark place, sometimes it's super helpful just to like get everything out.
And do you feel like you're having written a dark romance that gets darker progressively has kind of given you more of a like a therapeutic sense uh, than say actually talking to someone? Do you feel like writing has healed more within your soul, or do you feel like uh, people reading it has healed you more?
I think just getting it out, however you choose to do that, I think getting it out is key, whether that's talking to somebody, whether that's a combination of talking to somebody or writing or just writing, because there's some people that can't afford to get the therapy or whatever they need. So, like, whatever form
Mhm.
of getting it out you can do, whether that's talking to friends or a licensed therapist or journaling or creating a whole
Whole
universe.
thing.
um ah Everybody just wants to talk to me today.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
um for me it was very cathartic though because there are lots of bits and pieces. My fingerprints are literally all over it. There's things that I've experienced, whether it's a play on it. It's not an exact like this happened to me, but I mean there's definitely truth at the root of a lot of this stuff. So
and where would you say more of Dakota is on the page? Is it um, like in the romance of Hell House? Is it through your characters? Because each author kind of puts a part of their soul into each of their works. So where do you feel like you
yeah,
shine the brightest in Hell House?
I think Salem is like a really spot on representation of a lot of me, but I also think
Mhm.
so is Sky. Um, the characters definitely have those pieces, but also like there's situations that they come upon that I've been through, so I already know
Mhm.
how the characters are going to respond. Um, but there's definitely just so many pieces of myself in there. Um, that it was very, I wouldn't say overwhelming to undertake, but just it was a lot.
Right. It's a lot to kind of one to put yourself out there, but two to put something that is a part of your soul out there for other people to read. So, what kind of has been the hardest part of having your soul on page out there?
Well, I mean, I come upon people saying, "Oh, I don't like Salem," and I'm like, "That's fine. You don't have to like me.
It's okay. You don't
It's
have to be my
okay.
friend. It's fine.
It's all right." I went into this one knowing ahead of time that this wasn't going to be for everybody, and that's okay. Um, I think that if you vibe with it, you vibe with it. Like there seems to be either like you hate it or you love it,
Mhm.
is what I'm seeing. And to the ones that hate it, that's valid and that's fine. I always laugh for the reasons that they say they don't love it. Somebody said I said Pacific Northwest too much. I was like, okay, I'm sorry.
Uh, Absolutely one of my author goals is to get like a 1-star review that says something so ridiculous that everyone like posts it on Reddit and they're like, I absolutely have to read this book now.
Right? I think the hardest part of publishing this book in particular was that like nothing went right. Nothing
Mhm.
went right with this book. I my editor got COVID,
Oh
so
no.
they were not yeah. So the time slot that I had for this book, they did not get to do that. So I made a scramble and I had a bunch of people helping, which I'm so thankful for all the
Mhm.
ARC readers because I explained the situation. And I'm like, I was really hoping to have this way more edited. But if you do find anything that is like, off or
Necessary.
like the grammar, yeah, like let me know. Um, and then Amazon published it without me. Like they just released it
No.
to the wild. Yep. So it was a lot. I was so stressed for like the whole week that it was like fixing and um I think the funniest thing that ever happened with this book though was that I had a grammatical error, like a word error that was her legs quacked and it just
I don't
you
know about
know.
that. There
I was
are
like,
some
you know
mistakes
what?
that I'm like, I gotta keep this in. It's chaotic, just like the guys. Maybe
It
you
really
summoned the
was.
chaos by writing them
I bet you exactly. I'm sure one of them was like, we need to get this out to the public immediately. And they did that.
immediately. Yes. Uh, love that. Uh, and because I'm curious, and I do like to ask, where did you get your cover for Hell House?
I made it.
You did? I love it. So
Thank
do
you.
you usually do like a lot of graphic editing yourself, or did you have to smash a lot of things together? Did it just kind of epiphany to you?
Oh, that was a lot of like moving around and like making sure that I thought that this looked like a cover that I would buy. That was my goal with it. Was just trying to make it look like a one click buy if I was shopping.
Mhm.
And I also wanted it to like represent what was going on the inside. Um, so I went for it. Like, had lots of different moving pieces on it, and I had fun.
It is
Thank you.
beautiful, and I do love Queens of Hell House. I kind of like the cohesive feel to all of them. And
Thank you.
so that kind of begs the question, are you going to do all of your covers for all of your future books, or is it kind of just this one?
Well, publishing is very expensive. So
Yes, it
I
is.
definitely, yeah, I definitely cut corners where I knew I could cut corners. Um, and this was one of the areas where I was like, I think I could do this. Like, I'm like 95% sure that this is something that I could possibly pull off. I
Right.
would love in the future to be able to like hire an artist and like have them do it because the mental toll, the mental, like Marcus knows because I would send him when I was working on Queens, I sent him like a couple different like shots. I'm like, which one do you like better? Because like I'm like sending this out to a bunch of different people, and I'm like, what do you think? Like, tell me, does this look like a cover you would buy? Like, which one do you like more? So like, thank you to whoever else I sent that out to, and I like bothered incessantly.
And that's the worst of like when you've got like the same cover but like with one tiny change and you're like, which one do you like better? And
Yes,
it's seven of the same thing but like different font. And they're like,
yeah,
they're all pretty. Like, that's not helpful. Does this font look better or does this font look better?
yeah. I sent it to Marcus. I sent it to like a bunch of different group chats. I'm like, help,
How funny.
help me
Uh,
because I cannot afford like a nice big fancy cover.
right.
I
And
instead am
I
using
think
that for like other things.
right. And I think each author kind of picks their battles. Like there's some authors who are like, oh no, I've got the whole like English, I've got the grammar and everything. I'm gonna give the cover to someone else. And some authors are like, nope, I know myself. I'm gonna miss a comma, and someone else has got to
Yep.
edit this.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. I already know. I already know my grammar is not the best. I am more about like the vibes and the storytelling
Right.
and like I for sure know that that's not my strong suit. Even though like English was my best subject, I am so squirrel brained when I'm writing that like like I already know that that's not my strong suit. So I did have an editor. They just decided to get sick.
Right.
I think in the future that'll be good to like
Commas
get
are from hell, and
re
not the fun side.
not the fun side. This book has a slot for editing, like professional and everything. So like
Mm.
everybody just vibe to her that she doesn't get sick. It's a different editor.
Right. So everyone in the comments who's here on the live, please cross your fingers, knock on the wood that
Whatever you're doing.
Queens of Hell House, does not suffer the same fate as Hell House.
Oh my
But
God.
how iconic would it be if your sequel also had a mind of its own?
It would be on brand or on point. This like I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, oh, this is happening now, I guess.
Yeah, just send me like, I don't know, tacos or something to cope.
Right. Uh, and oh, that is another funny story because you did discuss how pasta brought up gluttony and tacos kind of brought up my teacher's pet. Are there obviously, there's food in the books because gluttony is there, but like,
Yep.
what kind of food? Are we talking like grub, like finger foods? What kind of foods are we talking about in this book?
So Graham is Italian and he just likes to be extra with everything. So like he makes frittata, he makes charcuterie, he makes snacks to put in a little snackle box to bring like when they go out to the beach and stuff. So there's definitely like a lot of food elements to it because he's very on hands on with his food. Soup, there's cake. Um, yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely, and he makes his own hot sauce that everybody fights over.
Yes. Of course, a demon would make his own hot sauce. It's on brand.
Right.
Oh yeah. Have you posted any of Gluttony's recipes? Are you
I
considering it?
haven't. I found a couple people on here on like TikTok that give me the most Graham vibes ever. And they like have all these chef looking like thirst
Right.
traps. That's as far as I've gotten with the whole Graham stuff because it is, as you know, because you're an author,
Right.
it's a huge undertaking to like create a whole novel and get your signed copies out and make stickers or like whatever you're doing for like merch stuff. It's a
Right.
lot.
Glenny gets his own cookbook. Oh, is he? Graham's also a cooking teacher.
I mean, he was teaching one of the girls how to
Oh.
make something. Hell House
Right.
Cookbook, narrated
I'm
by
just
Marcus.
saying, in like a couple of years when the series is wrapped up, if you want to just revive the series and drop a cookbook with like
Why not?
character art in it, I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it
uh,
either. I mean, I love food, so
Yeet. We are a foodie in this house. Um, so with the kind of the bumps in the road that you had to deal with getting Hell House out,
yeah.
and with the reception that it's gotten, and kind of the following you've made, what is something you're really proud of with Hell House?
Just that people are reading it, honestly. Like it still blows me away when I see it. Like I'll just be scrolling and I'll be I'll be looking just at regular TikTok and somebody's recommending my book or they're talking about my characters. One of the things that blew me away early on was that a friend of mine who read Hell House, who I only met because she was arc reading for me, dressed up like one of my characters, and I cried. I cried,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I think that it's just mind blowing to me that people are reading it. I didn't expect the kind of attention that it got. Like I just put it out there thinking like maybe maybe people will read what I wrote. Yeah, I didn't expect it to be like pfft.
Right. Fair.
Yeah.
So, having gathered the knowledge you have now and getting ready to kind of launch the sequel, what are some lessons you've learned that you're putting into action for the second one that maybe some others don't want to have happen to them?
I am very tired of seeing ah I'm so tired of seeing like the reviews about grammar. So like the editing is like the number one thing that I'm doing. Like making sure it went through an agency and like making sure that like I am so covered there
Right.
that there's like enough time for everything to like go to print and get to the arcs on time because I feel like that was so chaotic that I don't want to repeat. And I don't like the grammar ones, just like they slay me just a bit because I'm like, you don't know what I went through.
But unfortunately, like, there's no button for me to put like a hey, don't judge me. This is what
So judge me.
happened.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. Uh, so, with that kind of being something that a lot of people have pointed out, is there ever a thought of going back and re-editing the whole
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Uh, do you
Yeah.
foresee yourself doing that?
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
fair.
Just because I mean, so like everything that I'm using now is like stuff that I made from Hell House. And so like I think once Queens is done, I can use whatever to like go back and
Mm,
fix the I mean, it's like a couple sentences or a couple words, but I just want to make sure that it's cohesive. So, oh,
right,
thank you.
just little spots here and there.
Yeah.
And then for giggles, everything you've learned now after also working on Queens, what are you putting in towards the third book? Uh, what kind of life lessons are you putting in towards the third one?
Mm. You know, I don't know if I can talk about it yet.
Okay, fair. Um, do you have a title picked out for the third one?
Yeah.
Yes. Uh,
Yes.
I'm excited to see. So hold on the third book. Uh, what is next on the docket for Dakota? What does 2023 look like for you?
Chaotic.
Fair.
So I definitely need I need to wrap up Hell House is what like my goal is to wrap
Mhm.
up Hell House. I want to finish Pretty Monster and have Bad Bunnies get released. The thing about Bad Bunnies, it was supposed to release in December and like the editor couldn't do both at one time. So it was either, get pitchforked by all of the cliffhanger people, um, or go with Bad Bunnies. So I was like, I'm picking Hell House because I get messages every day. So we're going with Queens first, and I think
Mhm.
that Bad Bunnies will probably be pushed out until like maybe the summer.
Mhm.
But then after that, I'm pretty sure that there's like talks of like other things in the works, collaborations and things that I need to make room for.
Okay. Do you have any plans, or have you already signed up for any like anthologies? Anything people can be excited for?
It's the anthology is like something that like I'm playing around with Marcus eyeballs. Um, so there's talk of an anthology. I'm not going to say yes or no for sure
Mhm.
until like I have more information on that. And there's a
Yes.
collaboration that I've been talking about with a couple people that I'm super excited about, but I can't say anything officially. So
Right.
there's lots coming. I have several signings coming up next year that I'm really
Ooh.
excited about.
Do you have
So
any that are confirmed that have already like announced dates for people to come see you?
yeah, so I'm signed up for Wanderlust in San Antonio, and that is
Ah.
in I think August.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to Book Love on the Rock, which is in Rockford, and that is in October. And Kat Blackthorne, I don't know if she's still in the chat,
Hmm.
but she's going to be there, and Molly Doyle is going to be there, and a lot are going to be there from TikTok. Amelia is going to be there. I'm very excited to meet her. Um, so many amazing authors are going to that one that I'm just like geeking out over.
I love that.
Where's
And are you?
Sweetgrass?
Where is Sweetgrass?
Where's that?
Jay, you're gonna have to tell me because I have no idea. That is one I have not heard. Are there any cons that you're going? Oh, Charleston, South Carolina. Have not heard of that one.
I've been
Um,
to Charleston.
right. I've been to the area. Ooh.
I haven't heard of that one, so just like send me the info. Send me the info to that one. I am going to Salem in 2024,
Right.
so getting witchy with it.
I'm going to Giddy Witching with it this coming up year as a guest. Um, I don't know if I'm going to be a signing on author on 2024. I haven't decided if I'm gonna if I'm gonna be able to swing that one, but I want
Yeah.
to. With these signings, do you have anything in case someone like misses you at a signing or isn't able to go? Do you have the ability to send out like signed copies, or do you have a shop?
Yes, yeah, I do. I have a shop, Schmink Bio, whatever. Banana.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I do. So that's actually currently up. So if anybody was not able to come and see me in person, that they can get off of there.
Do you have any like merch or any other like goodies that they can buy, or just books right now?
Yeah, I have some bookmarks. I'm putting up some stickers later on this week, I think. And then I'm
Mhm.
working on next year getting like some like clothing because I like the whole academy thing would be really cool. Kildale Academy merch,
Right.
property of Hell House kind of stuff. But that's not until next year.
Like it. And what are some things maybe you're just really excited for that people can be excited for you for this coming up year?
I mean, I think you covered everything. Um, Paige, listen, don't add to my shopping list.
I will drop money on pages suits right now. That is a weakness. There's something about having like just a special art design page insert that just makes my heart go burr.
Yeah.
But so then, do you have any plans for audiobooks or anything like that? Or is that like way out there?
Oh yeah, no. Marcus, who just like popped back in, and Nikki are
Mhm.
doing the audiobook. I think that they're going to start in April, but I don't think it'll get released until May. But oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that to come out and like for them to bring the characters to life. Marcus has incredible range, and Nikki just nails the sassiness down of Salem, and she gets like the good girl self down for Sky, and it's just I can't wait.
I love it. And Amelia has 3 copies, so Page and Strings would be good.
Yeah,
Um,
if you guys want to send me like artists that are open and
right.
affordable.
Would you consider doing page inserts? I just need to like gauge. I'm window shopping. I'm window shopping.
Yeah. I think that was the hardest thing about like this whole window of time is trying to find character art and in like the short amount of time and like have enough left
Right,
over.
because for 7 boys alone, not even like 2 females characters is just that's a lot of character art. And knowing how much paid for my 2 characters, I'm ow, my wallet cries for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters. So I had one done of two female, like two FMCs, and I actually just got a refund on it because the artist said that she ended up using AI to create it, and I wasn't aware of that. So I actually had to take, I was going to create them into like character art to like send out. So that one I had to like, I've not had the best of luck with character art, so like had to remove that. But I was so grateful that she was upfront with me about it. And then
Right.
I did have a commission done of Walker and Salem. So that was a
Aw,
cute moment.
I love that. As we kind of wind down, something that I like to ask everyone, and it doesn't have to be author related, is since we've kind of discussed you as an author, your books, and all of their many dimensions, sometimes it's really nice to think about like what we would do if we could just drop everything. So if money, time, and effort weren't a problem, what would you be doing
Yeah.
right now? And it does not have to be author related. It can be if you want to, but like it can be anything. What would you like to be doing?
If I was doing anything, I'd be like running around the streets of Edinburgh. Like
We love a good explorer.
I'm super adventurous. I love to travel. I would just be like running around the world. But like that one was my favorite place, so I would be running around there. Probably stuck in a bookstore, like with a whole pile of
Oh
books
yeah, whole
and
stack.
taking a million pictures of like how gorgeous it is there.
We love that. And if like there was something that you could tell a reader that would let them know who you are as an author, whether it's like your brand or like a slogan or just something they
Oh,
can associate with you, what would it be?
trying her best. I don't know.
Fair. Yes, no, I feel that. Trying her best. Love that. So,
Yeah.
what do you want to kind of be the standouts? So, like, do you write books for the girlies who hate wearing shoes? Like, do you write books for people um, who've had religious trauma? Like, who would you say your books are for?
I think that there's something for everybody, like a little bit of something for everybody. I try to make it very inclusive. I try to like make sure that people are seeing the that we're reading FMCs that aren't like the perfect girl. We've got cellulite, we've got like bumps and stretch marks maybe,
Mhm.
uh or girls who are like super thin naturally, or girls who eat a potato and are size 20, and like everybody is included in what I write. Whether that's a person of color, or somebody that is identifies as LGBTQ plus. Like I feel that going away from my work, I hope that you can see yourself somewhere in there.
Love that. And if someone has forgotten everything that we've discussed on this live today, um, what's something you want them to remember, either about the book, about you, or about your entire like or your entire book library?
Um, I write chaos and
Fair.
romance. Like, it's so hard to pick between like you know, the amount of stuff that goes on in here. So, you know, lots of things.
And one final question I usually give to everyone: is there anything that you wanted to talk about? Any like topics you wanted to bring up, or anything you wanted to? Oh, she will give you chaos and wreck you. Perfect. Thank you, Jay. Love that. Very.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Uh, is there anything you wanted to talk about that maybe we didn't touch on, or is there anything you wanted
Um,
to announce?
I don't have anything in particular other than I hope that if you've watched this or seen a part of it, that you'll pick up Hell House and just, read the that's a good question, Marcus. If I could have a drink with one of my characters, I would have a drink with Walker,
Ooh,
because I feel like he might be broody, but he's funny. And he's got like a lot of great stories, and he plays guitar, so he's like musical, so we love that.
we love that. Um, So I guess kind of go ahead and reintroduce yourself to everyone who's here in chat. If they don't already know who you are, reintroduce your book and give people the good information of where they can keep in contact with you, where they can see you more, or anything else you want them to join. But he doesn't stop talking.
So my name is Dakota Wilde. All of my books are on Amazon. I wrote Hell House, Hell House Halloween, and My Teacher's Dirty Secret. And my next book will be out in February. It is a sequel to Hell House called Queens of Hell House. You can find me through all different socials, always on Dakota Wilde Author. I have a website with a bunch of signed copies and a bunch of fun merch that I like to send out, and I have a Discord. I don't post too much in there, but it's a good group of people who are amazing. And if you like audiobooks, the audiobook will be out next year for Hell House. It's narrated by Marcus and Nikki, and I cannot wait for that. And I'm just really grateful to anybody that's read Hell House or any of my work and have supported me. So if you like paranormal and demons, like all of that, you can check out Hell House. It is all of my work is on KU, so that was important to me to like make sure people had access to that.
Yes, excellent. And is there any is there any like promotions, any sales or anything like that you would like to pitch to the crowd while we still have it?
I don't have anything going on currently, but I do know that I plan for something before Hell House, like the sequel, releases.
Ooh, excellent. And where will they get, do you have like a newsletter or anything they can get notifications from, or is it just like your Discord?
Yep, yeah, I do have a newsletter. I don't bombard people with it. It is just very like when I have updates, that's like basically I send that out. All of my stuff is in my link tree, which is on all of my profiles, I believe, and like with all the things for you to clicky click.
Excellent. So I want to thank you for joining me, allowing me to bombard you with a bunch of questions. Thank
No, I
you very
appreciate it
much
so much.
for and answering them, and as well as being willing to discuss things uncomfortable or not. Because with darker romance, we tend to get onto topics that are a little uncomfy. It kind of comes with the genre. Uh, but for everyone who is here, thank you very much for joining. Thank you, everyone, including you, Jay, who has been in the comments, and
The
thank you
whole
for dropping
time.
questions. Yeah, the whole time, Jay, you have surprised the heck out of me because, like, it has been 2 hours, Jay. No wonder you're gonna go
Two
hide.
hours. My butt's
Uh,
numb.
yeah, no, there's absolutely what people don't see is after these interviews, I go pace my house a couple times just to like
Yeah.
get my legs working again. And
Yeah.
someone once suggested, do you want to do like a 3 hour live? I was like, I love you to pieces.
We have to
No, thank
pee.
you.
Like,
It's a lot.
yes. Yeah, she is
Hammer
invader for
invaders.
me.
Ooh, excellent. Um, oh, do you have any signups or anything like that you want people to know about?
I will have ARC signups in January for Queens of Hell
Ooh,
House. The only requirement is that you agree that you read Hell House prior, because it would be
fair.
kind of difficult. And then you agree to like write a review.
Excellent. We love that.
Yeah.
So absolutely check out TikTok, Goodreads, Amazon page, and get a copy of Hell House if you haven't already. Hi, my name is Lizzie Strong. I have been your host for this evening. I'm a monster romance author where the monsters are spooky, scary, but the romance is cute and cuddly. I have a release coming out on the 13th. It is called Nymph on the Rocks. So for everyone who it cried over Eddie Munson and very much got sick of the sound of Chrissy, please wake up. This one is for you. Also, if you've ever had toxic friends or if you're dealing with sobriety, because that is a topic that we do discuss in the world of rock stars and supermodels. It is a
Yeah.
monster romance where we have wings, tails, and horns, and a nymph who controls a lots of ivy and vines. I would like to thank everyone for joining us and being in the comments. I am super excited. If you didn't know already, my ARC signups for Dragon Daddy, which comes out in February, those are available on my channel up until Christmas. After that, the ARC will be shut. The ARC signup will be shut down until later on next year. So if you want to read Dragon Daddy as an ARC reader, you should sign up. Other than that, I want to thank you all for joining, and any last final thoughts, moments, or
I'm
expletives?
just grateful to be here. So, thank you so
Well,
much for
then
everybody that joined.
I would like to thank everyone and have a great night. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.